She texted, "I'm in Spain with my ex. He's just a friend." I replied, "Okay, have fun." Then I stopped asking questions. The next evening, she came home and froze. I was on the couch with her friend. I said calmly, "Relax, she's my future wife. Go back to your best friend." Her phone slipped from her hand when she understood what I'd already set in motion. That text was clean. Too clean. Like a lie that had been ironed flat. Mara didn't ask how my day was. She didn't say love you. Just Spain, ex-friend. A story in 3 words meant to make me feel grown up for not caring. I answered the way a tired man answers a coworker. "Okay, have fun." Then I stopped. No follow-ups, no jokes, no send pics. I set my phone down and listened to the house breathe. The refrigerator clicked. The clock ticked. My thoughts paced the hallway like a dog that smells smoke. I run shipping operations for a logistics company. When a route falls apart at 2 a.m., drivers call me because I don't panic. I don't scream. I trace the problem back to the first bad decision, and I fix the chain before it snaps again. That week, my marriage felt like a chain I'd been holding with numb fingers. Mara left the same morning with a carry-on and a new leather luggage tag. Expensive. Not her habit. She loves anything that looks like status. "What's with the tag?" I asked. "Work gift," she said. Too fast. Kiss on the cheek. Eyes already on the door. That night, she posted a sunset over water. No location tag, no friends in the photo, just a caption, "Finally breathing." Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. On the 3rd day, her friend Callie texted me, "You okay?" Callie was always around when Mara needed someone to echo her. Callie didn't check in. She tested. I replied, "Why?" She went quiet. That's when I knew this wasn't just between Mara and some guy. It was a group project, and I was the only one not invited to the meetings. On day 5, an airline email hit my inbox. "Your itinerary has been updated." Not Mara's. Mine. Same shared address we used for bills, subscriptions, warranties, little paper chains that tie people together. Her return flight had moved up. Same day, earlier hour. No Spain, just Chicago. I printed it and put it in a manila folder, not for drama, for clarity. I'd learned the hard way that memory gets fuzzy when someone keeps telling you you're crazy. At 6:12 p.m. the next evening, Callie's car rolled up. I opened the door before she could knock. Her face did that flicker people do when they walk into a room and realize they don't control it. "Hey," she said, bright, forced. "Mara asked me to—" "She didn't," I said. Callie blinked. "What?" "Come in," I said. "Sit." She hesitated like sitting might make it real. "I don't like this," she whispered. "Me neither," I said. "But we're here." Callie sat on my couch, hands clenched in her lap. I didn't accuse. I asked one question at a time, the kind you can't wriggle out of without sounding guilty. "Spain?" I asked. Callie's eyes watered. "No." "Where?" I asked. Callie looked away. "Lakeview. An apartment. She said it was safe." "Who paid?" I asked. Callie swallowed. "I don't know." "Who else knows?" I asked. Callie's shoulders sagged. "Gina. She helped. She thought it was temporary." Gina. Mara's friend who'd baked us cookies last month and called me good for her. The kind of person you trust because they seem gentle. I nodded. "Stay," I said. Callie's head snapped up. "No, she'll hate me." "Then maybe she should," I said. At 7:48 p.m., a rideshare stopped in front of my house. Mara stepped out like she was walking into a photo shoot, coat perfect, suitcase rolling smooth, face ready. She opened the door and saw Callie on my couch. She froze. Her eyes jumped to me like I'd changed. "What is this?" she asked. I stayed seated. The TV was on mute. The quiet made everything louder. "Mara," Callie whispered. Mara didn't look at her. Evan, I can explain. Relax, I said calmly. She's my future wife. Go back to your best friend. Mara's phone slid from her hand and hit the floor. For a second, she didn't move, like her body was waiting for her brain to catch up. Then her face hardened. You're insane. I smiled without humor. No, I said. I'm awake. Mara picked up her phone slowly, like it might burn her. The corner of the screen had a small crack, and I hated how perfect that felt. Callie, Mara said, voice sharp. Get out! Callie looked at me, pleading. I nodded once. Go, I told her. You've done enough. When the door shut, Mara's eyes locked on me. So this is your plan? Humiliate me? It's not a plan, I said. It's a boundary. She laughed like a sneeze. You don't get to set boundaries after stalking my flights. I didn't stalk, I said. You forgot our email is shared. Mara's lips pressed tight. Nothing happened. I lifted the manila folder onto the coffee table and opened it. She stiffened. I slid the airline update toward her, then the hotel invoice charged to my card, then a photo Gina had taken in a building lobby, Mara laughing, Liam's hand at the small of her back. Mara's eyes tracked each page like they were insects. Where did you get that? She asked. From the people you used, I said. Mara's voice dropped, dangerous. You're turning them against me. No, I said. You did that? I just stopped covering the cracks. She stood, pacing once, twice like she could outrun paper. I needed space. You needed secrecy, I said. Her eyes flashed. You were distant. I was exhausted, I said, from carrying us while you auditioned for a different life. Mara's face twisted. So what now? You want a confession? You want me to beg? I looked at her. I want the truth. Name. She hesitated, then said it like it meant nothing. Liam. How long? I asked. A month, she snapped. I waited. Her shoulders tightened. Since spring. I waited again. Mara's jaw trembled. Since last winter. There it was, the real number sitting under all her smaller numbers. I exhaled slow. Pack a bag, I said. Leave tonight. Mara scoffed. You can't kick me out. I'm not forcing you, I said. I'm offering you a calm exit before I start making calls. What calls? She whispered. My lawyer, I said. Our bank, and Liam. Mara's face went pale. You wouldn't. I already started, I said. I texted Liam one sentence. We need to talk, tonight. He called a minute later, trying to sound above it. This is Liam. What's your problem? My problem is you, I said. Elm Street coffee, 10 minutes. He laughed. No. If you don't, I said, I walk into your gym tomorrow and ask your clients what integrity costs. Silence. Then, fine. Gina met me outside the cafe. Hoodie, jeans, eyes swollen like she'd cried a river and still had more left. I didn't know, she said. She told me you were harsh. I snorted. The harshest thing I do is enforce schedules. Gina swallowed. I'm sorry. If you want to help, I said, tell me what you remember. Dates, places, names. Gina nodded. She used Darren's company for the Lakeview lease. Darren's Liam's partner. We walked in. Liam sat by the window like he belonged there. Broad shoulders, confident grin, watch shining like a badge. He stood. Didn't offer a hand. You're Evan, he said. That's my name, I replied, sitting. How long? Liam's brow furrowed. How long what? How long have you been seeing my wife? I said. Liam scoffed. She told you we were basically done. Answer, I said. He leaned back. Since March. I stared until his smile lost its balance. He sighed. Fine, since last winter. Gina flinched. Liam glanced at her. She didn't tell you. Gina's voice cracked. She told me she needed a quiet place to think. Liam's jaw tightened. So she lied to everyone. I slid the lobby photo toward him. Liam's eyes narrowed. You're following us. No, I said. You were visible. Liam's face hardened. What do you want? You want me to apologize? I want you to walk away, I said. He laughed. You can't control that. I can't, I agreed. But I can control what I do next. He leaned forward. And what's that? I lowered my voice. I'm ending my marriage legally. I'm documenting what you both did. And if you step into my home or touch me, it'll be on camera, on record, with witnesses. Liam stared at me like he expected heat and got ice. You're serious, he said. I've never been more serious, I replied. Liam's smile returned, thinner. Mara said you'd beg. I stood. Mara says a lot. As I walked out, I heard Gina's chair scrape. She followed. Outside, she whispered, You didn't even yell. I don't yell, I said. I move pieces. Mara thought silence meant surrender. She didn't understand silence can be a kind of surveillance. Not spying, not hacking, just noticing what people give away when they think you're too hurt to pay attention. While she stayed in Lakeview, her mistakes piled up. She forgot that our streaming account still sent login alerts. She signed into the TV at the apartment, and my phone quietly notified me. New device. Not proof of cheating. Proof of location. Proof she was living somewhere she'd sworn didn't exist. She forgot the grocery loyalty number was still tied to our shared email. A receipt arrived. Protein bars, expensive coffee pods, and a bottle of wine I didn't like. The store address wasn't near our house. It was near Liam's gym. She forgot that her nonprofit's donor newsletter was public. She'd posted a photo at a community wellness partner event, Liam's gym logo on the banner behind her. Cropped tight, but not tight enough. I didn't confront her with any of it. I copied it, printed it, dated it, put it in the folder. My hands stayed busy while my heart tried to keep its shape. Gina brought me more than paper. She brought me context. She said you'd never leave, Gina told me one afternoon at my dining table. She said you needed her. She laughed about it. I stared at my coffee until it went cold. How long? I asked. Gina swallowed. Before last winter. She met him earlier. She tested it. Then she made it a routine. A routine. That word hit harder than any insult. It meant the betrayal wasn't a mistake. It was a schedule, like a gym class. Who else? I asked. Gina wiped her cheeks. Callie and her sister, and Darren. Darren didn't ask questions. People don't ask questions when the answers might cost them, I said. Gina nodded. She kept saying you were predictable. I smiled, small and sharp. Predictable is just another word for reliable. That night, Mara called. I let it ring twice, then answered. Her voice came soft, practiced. Evan, can we talk? We're talking, I said. A pause. I want to come home. Just for a night. I want to grab more things. You can come with notice, I said. And with a witness. She exhaled. Why are you being like this? Because, I said, you acted like you were alone in my life. You weren't. She tried another voice, the one that used to make me doubt myself. You're overreacting. I smiled into the phone. That line used to work. Silence. Then she whispered, Liam says you're dangerous. I said, calm and honest, I'm not dangerous. I'm done. I didn't go after Mara with rumors. I went after her with math. Mara's image was her income. Fundraising is trust in a nice dress. Donors give money to people they believe in. Boards protect organizations from risk. Mara had become a risk. With Ms. Adler's guidance, I sent a short email to the board chair and HR contact. Subject: conflict concern. No insults. No, she's evil. Just facts. My spouse and I were separating. She had described travel in ways that might create confusion. There were invoices tied to my accounts. I wanted the organization protected and asked that they review internally. I attached only what I could verify: the airline update, the hotel invoice, and the photo from the lobby that proved she was using a residence she'd kept secret while claiming to be abroad. That was it. The next morning, my phone buzzed with her name. "What did you do?" she hissed. "I informed them," I said. "You're trying to ruin me," she snapped. "I'm trying to keep you from ruining them," I said. Her breathing sounded ragged. "They called me in." "Tell the truth," I replied. She went silent, then whispered, "You hate me." "I hate what you did," I said. "There's a difference." Mara laughed, brittle. "You think paper makes you powerful." "No," I said. "Paper makes you accountable." After the call, I sat on my porch steps and let the quiet settle. I didn't feel good. I felt focused, like a man finally turning a key in a lock he should have changed years ago. The day after my email, Mara stopped begging and started recruiting. First, she called my mother. My mom rang me at noon with that cautious tone people use when they don't want to accuse their own family, but they've been handed a story wrapped like a gift. "Honey," she said, "Mara says you're scaring her." I let the silence sit for 2 seconds, long enough for the truth to settle into my ribs. "What did she say exactly?" I asked. Mom hesitated. "She said you're stalking her, calling her work, threatening people." I stared out my front window at a lawn that needed mowing and thought about how betrayal always tries to dress itself up as safety. "I sent one email," I said, "with documents. Through my attorney's guidance, that's it." Mom went quiet, then whispered. She sounded so upset. "She's upset because she's losing control of the story," I said, "not because she's in danger." Mom sighed. "I don't want you getting hurt." "I'm not doing anything illegal," I said, "and I'm not doing anything stupid." After I hung up, I texted Mara one line. "Stop contacting my family." She replied a minute later, "Stop attacking me." I didn't answer. Answering would be a conversation. She didn't deserve one anymore. Instead, I built fences that didn't look like fences. Ms. Adler drafted a simple communication rule: all contact in writing, through email, about logistics only. No calls, no late-night texts, no surprise visits. If she needed property, we scheduled a time. If she had questions, she asked in writing. The rule wasn't romantic, it was protective. It kept the chaos from finding a crack. Mara hated it. She emailed anyway, 3 times in 1 hour, each message shorter than the last. "I need my jewelry. I need my laptop. I need my life." I replied once, "Send a list. We'll schedule pickup." She wrote back, "You're not my father." I stared at that sentence and almost laughed. She'd spent years acting like I was the one who set rules, when really she just wanted someone to blame for her own limits. That evening, her sister, Paige, called me. Paige never called me unless it was Christmas or someone needed a ride. "Evan," she said, sharp, "what are you doing?" "I'm ending a marriage," I said. "She's falling apart," Paige snapped. "She says you're trying to destroy her." I leaned against my counter and kept my voice even. "She destroyed herself. I'm just not cleaning it up anymore." Paige inhaled like she wanted to yell. "Mara says you're telling people she stole money." "I didn't say that," I said. "I said the organization should protect itself from confusion. That's not an accusation. It's risk management." Paige went quiet. Then she asked, softer, "Is there someone else?" The question made my throat tighten, not because it hurt, but because it proved Mara's favorite tactic: make me the villain by inventing a replacement. "There's no one else," I said. "There's just the truth." Paige whispered, "She said you told Callie she's your future wife." "I said that to make Mara stop performing," I replied. "It worked." Paige made a small sound, half shocked, half impressed. "Tell Mara," I added, "if she shows up unannounced again, I'll call for a civil standby, and we'll do it by the book." Paige's voice cooled. "You're serious?" I've never been more serious, I said. When I hung up, I realized something ugly and useful. Mara wasn't just losing a husband, she was losing her audience, and she was going to thrash to get it back. So I stayed ready. 2 days later, I drove to Liam's gym. Not to scream, not to swing, just to make sure my message wasn't abstract. It was a sleek place with bright lights and glossy posters of people lifting and smiling like effort was a fashion statement. I walked in and stood by the front desk. A young employee greeted me. "Hey, can I help you?" "I'm looking for Liam," I said. The employee hesitated. "He's with a client." I nodded. "Tell him Evan is here. He'll know." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. My calm did the talking. A few minutes later, Liam came out from the back, wiping his hands with a towel like he wanted to look busy. His smile was for the room, not for me. "Evan, you really want to do this here?" "I wanted witnesses," I said. His eyes narrowed. "You're trying to embarrass me." "I'm trying to make you careful," I replied. Liam stepped closer, lowering his voice. "You've got no claim on her." "I'm not claiming her," I said. "I'm returning her." His jaw flexed. "You're obsessed." I leaned in just a little. "Obsessed people explode. I'm organized." Liam's smile twitched. "What do you want?" "I want you to stop contacting my home," I said. "Stop driving by, stop sending photos." His eyes flashed. "I didn't send anything." I held his gaze. "Then tell Darren to stop." That landed, a small crack in his confidence. "You talked to Darren?" he asked. "I will," I said. "And to your biggest clients. Not to lie, to ask questions." Liam's voice went hard. "You do that and I'll—" He stopped, because the front desk employee was watching, because 2 clients were glancing over, because he understood in that moment that I wasn't alone in this conversation anymore. I smiled. "Say it," I said softly. "Finish your sentence." Liam's nostrils flared. He didn't finish it. I nodded. "Good," I said. "Stay smart." Then I walked out, leaving him standing there with his own anger and nowhere to put it. Outside, my hands were steady on the steering wheel. My chest felt tight, but it wasn't fear. It was the last of my old self trying to beg for peace. Peace, I'd learned, is expensive. And Mara had spent it. 2 nights later, Mara showed up at my house with Liam beside her like she needed backup. I opened the door and didn't step back. "We need to talk," Mara said, eyes red but makeup perfect. "Not here," I replied. Liam scoffed. "Why? You afraid of the truth?" "I'm not afraid," I said. "I'm tired." Mara's voice sharpened. "Evan, please, just stop telling people." "I'm not telling people," I said. "I'm answering questions you created." Liam stepped closer. "You got her suspended." "I informed her employer of a risk," I said. "That's not a threat. That's accountability." Mara grabbed Liam's sleeve. "Don't." Liam looked at her. "Why are you acting like this?" Mara's mouth opened, closed. I watched Liam's face change as he realized he wasn't the only one being lied to. "You told me it started in March," he said, turning to Mara. Mara snapped. "It doesn't matter." "It matters," Liam said, voice rising. "You said you were basically separated." Mara's eyes flashed to me, hatred mixed with panic. "You're doing this on purpose." "Yes," I said. Neighbors' porch lights clicked on across the street. Quiet eyes watching. Mara noticed and went pale. "Not in front of people." I leaned in, soft. "You didn't care who saw me looking foolish. You just made sure I didn't see you." Liam stepped back from Mara like she'd slapped him. "You used Darren," I added, calm. "The Lakeview lease." Liam's head snapped up. "Darren?" Mara's face broke in a way no makeup could fix. Liam turned and walked off the porch without looking back at her. Mara reached after him. "Liam!" He didn't stop. Mara stood there alone, shaking, then looked at me like she hated that I was steady. "You're a monster," she whispered. I nodded. "You helped make me." Mara's shoulders slumped. "Where am I supposed to go?" I held her gaze. "To the place you chose." She left, suitcase scraping the porch boards. I closed the door slowly, calmly, and locked it. At 9:47 p.m., the next night, my phone buzzed. A photo of my house. Taken from across the street. Then a photo of my car. Then one line. "Tell him to stop." I didn't panic. I moved. I called Gina. "Lock your doors. Don't open for anyone." Her breath hitched. "Is he coming?" "I don't know," I said. "But we act like he might." Then I called Drew, my friend from work. Security supervisor. Built like a fridge. Calm like a judge. "I need a witness," I said. "I'm on my way," he replied. We sat in my living room with the lights low. Not hiding, watching. At 11:03 p.m., headlights swept across my wall. Footsteps. A knock. Heavy. Entitled. I opened the door before it could turn into something else. Liam stood there, anger bright in his eyes. He saw Drew behind me and hesitated. "I just want to talk," Liam said. "From there," I replied. Liam's jaw flexed. "You ruined her." "She ruined herself," I said. He stepped closer. Drew shifted. Just a step. Just enough. Liam stopped at the threshold, breathing hard. Then he pulled something from his jacket and held it up like a trophy. A set of keys. My keys. Mara's keys. "Recognize these?" Liam asked, smirking. "She gave them to me. Said I could come by any time." For a second, my stomach tightened. Then I smiled. Liam's smirk faltered. "What?" I pointed at the inside of my door. A new security lock gleamed under the porch light. "Those don't work," I said. "Not anymore." Liam's face tightened. "You can't." "I did," I said. "After she left. With legal advice, because my home isn't a playground." He stared at the lock, then at the keys, then back at me like his script had ripped. "Give me the keys," I said. He laughed. Weak. "No." Drew stepped forward, not threatening, present. Liam's laughter stopped. He tossed the keys onto the porch. Metal clinked. I picked them up, felt their weight, and dropped them into my mailbox. Liam blinked. "What the hell?" "That's where unwanted things go," I said. "Not inside." Liam's face twisted. "You think this ends tonight?" "It ended when she typed Spain," I replied. He backed away, got in his car, and drove off too fast to look calm. I closed the door and turned the lock. The click was loud in the quiet. Drew exhaled. "You okay?" "No," I said. "But I'm in control." The lease arrived the next morning in Ms. Adler's inbox, forwarded from Darren, with a note that looked like it was written by a man trying to outrun his own choices. "Here, please don't involve me." Ms. Adler printed it and slid it across her desk to me. Darren's company name was at the top. The address was Lakeview. The start date was months earlier than Mara had admitted. The signature line showed Darren, not Mara, which meant what Gina said was true. Mara hadn't just lied to me. She'd built a paper shield. "This helps," Ms. Adler said. "It shows concealment. It shows planning." I nodded. "What do we do with it?" "We use it to set boundaries," she said, "and we make sure your home stays secure." That afternoon, Mara emailed my attorney asking for one last chance to retrieve items without humiliation. Ms. Adler replied with a scheduled time and a witness requirement. Mara agreed, then tried to change it twice, then agreed again. At the scheduled hour, Mara arrived at my house with Paige. No Liam. That told me something too. He wasn't brave when the paperwork got real. Drew stood on my porch with me, hands folded, a quiet presence. Mara walked up with her chin high, like she was stepping into court instead of her own consequences. "Where's my stuff?" she demanded. "List?" I asked. She glared. Paige held up a printed sheet, shaking slightly. Fine, I said. Wait here. Inside, I'd already boxed what was clearly hers: jewelry case, laptop, documents, clothing, toiletries. I hadn't touched anything that could be argued. I'd taken photos of each box before sealing it. Clean chain of custody, like I was handling evidence. When I carried the first box out, Mara laughed bitterly. You think you're so smart. I think I'm so done, I replied. She stepped closer, eyes hard. You changed the locks. I secured my home, I said. You moved out. I didn't move out, she snapped. I took space. You took a hidden apartment, I said. That's not space, that's deception. Paige flinched. Mara. Mara ignored her and reached for the box. Drew lifted a hand, palm out. One at a time, he said. Mara's eyes flashed. Who are you? A witness, Drew replied. Mara stared at him, then at me, and her voice dropped into that old tone she used when she wanted to make me feel small. You're pathetic. I nodded. And you're predictable. Mara jerked. Stop saying that. Stop proving it, I replied. She grabbed the box and marched to her car. Paige followed with the second. It would have ended there if Mara hadn't tried one last stunt. On her third trip, she glanced toward my mailbox and froze. Her eyes narrowed. Where are the keys? I smiled. Ask Liam. Paige's head snapped up. What? Mara's face went pale, then red. You told people about Liam? I told the people who needed to know, I said. The people you used. Mara's breath came fast. She looked past me like she wanted to storm inside. You can't keep me out, she said. I'm not keeping you out, I replied. You chose out. Mara stepped forward anyway. Drew shifted in front of her, calm, solid. Mara stopped, shaking with rage. Then she did something that made my stomach drop. She pulled out her phone and started recording me, aiming for a clip she could edit into a story where I was the threat. I leaned toward the camera and spoke clearly. Mara, I said, this pickup is scheduled and witnessed. You have your property. Please leave. Paige whispered. Mara, stop. Mara's eyes went wet, then hard. You think you're winning. I looked at her and said the truth she couldn't stand. I'm not winning, I said. I'm exiting. Mara slammed her car door so hard the window rattled. Then she drove off, and Paige followed behind her like a shadow that didn't know where to go. When the street went quiet again, I turned to Drew. That was the last time, I said. Drew nodded. Not for her. For me, I corrected. Mara showed up at Ms. Adler's office the next afternoon, alone. Hair pulled back, eyes hollow. Ms. Adler slid a separation agreement across the table. Temporary boundaries, spending limits, living arrangements. This prevents more conflict. Mara stared at the pages. You're taking everything. No, Ms. Adler said. He's securing the home while this proceeds. You're securing your own finances. No one is being erased. Mara looked at me. If I sign, will you stop? I leaned forward. I'll stop chasing the truth, I said, when you stop hiding it. Mara's hands trembled. Then she signed. The pen scratched paper like a small animal in a cage. When it was done, Mara whispered, You're enjoying this? I shook my head. I'm surviving it. Outside the office, Mara caught me in the hallway, voice raw. Evan, can we just talk? No lawyers, just us. I studied her. Not for love, for honesty. Okay, I said. Hope flashed in her eyes, quick and desperate. I didn't mean to hurt you, she whispered. You did, I said. She swallowed. I was lonely. So was I replied. I was lonely sitting next to you. Her face crumpled. I'm sorry. I believe you, I said. She looked up, shocked. I believe you're sorry, I added, because you're losing. Mara's eyes sharpened. That's not fair. I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone. Her body went still. What is that? She whispered. A message you left me months ago, I said. You thought you were calling Callie. Mara's lips parted. Evan, don't. I hit play. Her own voice filled the hallway, sloppy with laughter. Evan's so easy. He thinks I'm at a fundraiser. He's predictable. I just need the house until I'm ready. Mara's face emptied, as if someone had erased her. When the recording ended, the silence felt sharp. That's not, she started. That's you, I said. Tears came fast now, real and ugly. Please, don't show anyone. I won't, I said. Relief rushed into her eyes. Then I leaned in, soft, and finished the sentence. I won't show anyone, I repeated, because I already did. Mara froze. What? I nodded toward Ms. Adler's door. It's attached to the filings, not gossip, not a post, a record. Mara's breath broke. You can't. I can, I said. You didn't just cheat, you planned. Her mouth opened, but the lie had nowhere to go. That evening, Liam's gym hosted a small charity event. Community Strength Night. Mara's nonprofit name was on the flyer because of course it was. Image always finds a way to survive. Ms. Adler didn't want me to go. It's combustible, she warned. I'm not going to swing, I said. I'm going to conclude. Drew came with me anyway, not as muscle, as a witness. Gina came too, staying quiet, hands in her hoodie pockets like she was bracing for weather. The gym was packed. Music thumped. People laughed and held tiny cups of fancy water like they were at a gala. Mara stood near the banner, smile pasted on, taking photos with donors. She looked normal. That was the trick. She could stand in bright lights and pretend nothing happened. Liam saw me and stiffened. His smile snapped into place anyway. He walked over, jaw tight. You're here to cause a scene. I'm here because my name is on your banner, I said. And I don't consent. Mara's face drained when she saw Gina behind me. She whispered, Gina, please. Gina didn't answer. A man in a suit approached. Older, expensive shoes, the kind of donor Mara would have hugged too long. Mara, he said, I need a word. The board chair called me. Mara's smile trembled. Not now. He looked at me, then at the manila folder in my hand, then back at Mara. Now, he said. Mara's eyes went wide. She looked at me like I'd struck her, but my hands hadn't moved. I opened the folder and handed the man a single page, the separation agreement cover sheet, the timeline summary Ms. Adler prepared, and a note that the voicemail was part of the record. Nothing dramatic, just proof that her public partner event had become a liability. The man scanned, face tightening. Mara, he said quietly, you used our organization's name to cover personal travel. I didn't, she whispered. I didn't take money. That's not what this says, he replied. It says you misrepresented. Mara's eyes darted to Liam, begging for backup. Liam's posture shifted. For the first time, he looked like a businessman instead of a boyfriend. He was doing math in his head, how much this would cost him. Mara, Liam said, low. What did you do? Mara snapped. I did what I had to do. The donor stepped back like she'd splashed him. A few people nearby turned their heads. A ripple traveled through the room. Not a shout, not a scream, just a tension moving like smoke. Mara realized it too late. She grabbed my arm, hard. Stop, she hissed. Please. You made your point. I looked at her hand on my sleeve. Then I looked at her face. And I spoke loud enough for the closest circle to hear, not loud enough for a stage. I didn't make my point, I said. You made it when you typed Spain. Mara's grip loosened. Liam stepped between us, face red. Get your hands off him, he snapped at Mara, then turned on me. You're enjoying hurting her. I smiled. No, I said. I'm enjoying you seeing her without the filter. Liam's eyes flashed. You think you can walk out clean? I nodded toward the banner. My name comes off. Tonight. He scoffed. You can't just. I can, I said, and I handed him an envelope. He took it, confused, opened it, and his face changed. Inside was a cease and desist letter from Ms. Adler regarding use of my name and address on promotional materials, plus a demand to correct the record with the non-profit. Clean, boring, powerful. Liam's mouth opened, closed. Mara stared at the envelope like it was a snake. Then Darren appeared from the back, sweating, eyes darting. He spotted the circle and knew exactly what it was. Trouble. Liam, Darren said, tight. We need to talk. Now. Liam snapped. Not now. Darren lowered his voice anyway. Your biggest client just texted me. He's pulling out if this gets messy. Liam's face went pale. Mara heard that and flinched like she'd been slapped. She looked at Liam, waiting for him to choose her. Liam looked at Mara like she was a weight he'd just realized he'd been carrying. Mara, he said, quiet. I can't do this. Her eyes widened. What? I can't, he repeated, and his voice was flat. Not with my business. Mara's face broke. You said, I said a lot, Liam replied, and it sounded like something I'd said to him first. Mara stumbled back, breath ragged, looking around as if someone would save her from the room turning. She locked eyes with me. You're evil. I stepped closer, calm, and gave her the last thing she never expected from me, honesty without mercy. No, I said. I'm accurate. Mara lunged for my folder like she wanted to tear the proof in half. Drew moved between us, not grabbing her, just blocking. A wall with a heartbeat. Don't, Drew said, quiet. Mara froze, chest heaving, eyes wild. The donor in the suit backed away and said, to no one and everyone, this is unacceptable. And that was it. The sentence that matters in a room like that. People started drifting away from Mara, not running, not yelling, just stepping away, like she'd become something contagious. Liam stood there holding the envelope, face hard, calculating his escape routes. Gina watched Mara with a sadness that didn't soften her. Mara whispered, Gina, you have to help me. Gina shook her head once. I helped you already, she said. I'm done. Mara turned back to me, eyes wet, voice shaking. Who's the future wife? I smiled, not kind. Someone who doesn't need to lie to feel powerful, I said. Mara made a sound that was half sob, half laugh, and it cracked the last of her control. She pushed through the crowd, fleeing toward the exit. Liam didn't follow. I watched her go, then turned my back on the room. Drew touched my shoulder. We leaving? Yes, I said. As we walked out, my phone buzzed. Mara's name. I didn't answer. Mara didn't just leave the room. She tried to reclaim it in the parking lot. I saw her through the glass doors, pacing beside her car, phone pressed to her ear, hair coming loose from its careful pins. She looked less like a leader and more like a person trying to plug a sinking boat with her hands. Liam followed a minute later, not running, pretending he was choosing calm. Darren was on his heels, whispering hard. I didn't move at first. I watched, because watching was what had saved me all week. Mara spotted Liam and stepped into his path. You're not leaving, she said, loud enough that people at the entrance slowed down. Liam held up his hands. Mara, stop, not here. Not here, she snapped. You loved here when it made you look important. Darren tugged Liam's sleeve. Come on, he hissed. We need to talk to the client. Now. Mara swung on Darren. You're the one who signed the lease. You're the reason I had somewhere to go. Darren's face tightened. I signed what you asked me to sign. You said it was clean. It was clean, Mara said too fast. It was private. Liam stared at her like he was finally seeing the whole machine behind the pretty story. You used Darren, he said. You used me. You used your job. You used your friends. Mara's eyes flashed. And you used me. Liam laughed once, short and ugly. I gave you what you wanted. Attention. That's it. Mara's mouth opened, closed, then she turned and saw me standing inside the doorway with Drew and Gina. She marched toward the doors like she wanted one more round. Drew stepped outside first, not blocking her yet, just making sure she knew she wasn't walking up to me alone. Mara stopped 2 feet from him, chest rising and falling. "Move," she demanded. Drew's voice stayed even. "This isn't the place." Mara pointed past him at me. "He did this." I stepped forward. "You did this," I said. Mara's eyes filled again. "You're enjoying it." I shook my head. "I'm documenting it." She laughed, shaking. "Documenting? Like you're some hero?" "No," I said. "Like I'm a man who learned the truth has to be written down because liars rewrite it." Mara's jaw trembled. She looked at Gina, desperate. "Gina, please, tell him to stop. Tell him I didn't mean it." Gina's voice was quiet, steady. "You meant it," she said. "You meant every step until it cost you." Mara's face twisted into rage. "You're jealous." Gina didn't blink. "No, I'm embarrassed that I helped you." That hit Mara harder than anything I'd said. She turned back to me, eyes narrow, and for a second I saw her reaching for a last weapon, fear. "If you don't back off," she said, "I'll tell them you're unstable. I'll tell them you scared me. I'll tell everyone you're dangerous." I nodded once. "Go ahead," I said, "in writing, because I'll respond with receipts." Mara's lips parted. She wanted a world where words were smoke. I'd turned them into concrete. Behind her, Liam snapped, "Mara, enough!" She spun on him. "You said you loved me." Liam's face went blank. "I said what worked." Mara stared at him like she'd been slapped, then she did something small and revealing. She checked her phone, not for a friend, not for comfort, just to see who was still texting her back. No one was. She looked up at me one last time, voice thin. "This isn't over." I met her eyes. "For you, maybe," I said. "For me, it is." Mara stood there, shaking, then turned and got into her car. Her hands fumbled the keys. She started the engine and drove out fast, tires chirping, as if speed could erase the night. Liam watched her go and didn't move. Then he looked at me across the lot, anger and shame fighting on his face. I held his gaze until he looked away first. Outside, the air was cold and clean. The parking lot lights hummed. My footsteps sounded steady. I didn't feel happy. I felt finished. My phone buzzed again as I reached my car. Not Mara this time, an email from the board chair. "Mara submitted her resignation tonight, effective immediately. Thank you for alerting us before this became bigger." I stared at the screen until the words stopped looking like fire and started looking like fact. Then I saved it to the folder, the same way you save a receipt after a hard purchase, because proof is the only thing that doesn't change its story. I slid into the driver's seat, shut the door, and for the first time all week, the silence sounded like mine. I deleted her number, not out of spite, but out of hygiene. The manila folder sat on the passenger seat like a quiet judge. I drove away without music, without a speech, just the simple truth of leaving. No more questions. Ever.